Hello, this is Sherry Hughes with Pro Paper Crafter. I'm going to show you now how to do the small portfolio. This is a lovely small book that holds a legal pad on the inside, and then it also has a pocket with a magnet to it. So we're going to do this project now, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So to start with, what we're going to do is we're going to take packet number 1 for the small portfolio, and we're going to pull out the 2 pieces of chipboard that are measured 6 by 8.5, the chipboard 1.5 by 8.5, and then we have some green linen cardstock measured at some different sizes here. We're going to start with the 8 by the 10.5. Now, you have probably gotten to where you know exactly how to cover chipboard. You're going to adhere it to the smooth side of the linen paper. So all I'm going to do today, I'm going to make it very simple. I know in the other video I showed you how to use adhesive sheets. This time I'm actually just going to use the glue. So I'm going to put a heavy amount of glue on here. Because remember, we're going to be covering that front. So if you have a few glue streaks show up, you don't have to worry because they will be covered up. And then we're going to center this into the middle of our page. Good. Smooth it out. And if you don't want to watch this particular portion of the video, you want to jump ahead, you go right ahead. I'll just quickly put this together. Let me smooth it with my burnishing tool. And raise up these corners a little bit. I'm not going to talk quite as much as I normally do. I've got a little bit of a sore throat. We've got a humdinger of a forest fire going in our area, and the smoke is beginning to bother me just a smidgen. So I'm going to smooth that over. Nice edge. Smooth it down there. Smooth it there. Now I'm going to do this other side. Excellent. I must not have cleaned off my table. I've got little white specks from glue. Okay, and now I'm going to do the 2 ends. And I am going to go ahead and do the other one on camera. Like I said, if you want to skip forward or pause and then skip, go right ahead. But this is not going to take long, and I'm going to get it done for you. So I'm going to take my double stick tape, run it down the side, down here. 1/4 inch works fine. I've just happened to grab this one, which is 3/8. And if you're watching this video before you see the large one, you'll understand what I was talking about with adhesive sheets and what I do with these little double stick tapes. Okay, now I'm going to peel all of that back off. Nope, before I do that every time, don't I? I looked up at the camera to see if you noticed. I got to miter those corners before I do anything, which means I cut this way and then I cut that way so that I get that image there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do all 4 corners. Then I'll pull the tape off. The reason why I pull the tape off after I do this is because the tape will stick to my scissors. So it makes really good sense to do it before you pull the tape off. Now I'll pull the tape off. I will try not to laugh as hard as I did in the large portfolio video when the shelf came crashing down on my head during the filming. I played that back and it was loud. But I bleeped it out. Of course, if I'd gotten it on camera, that would have been better because you guys would have loved that. Again, I'm adding the glue in the crease and just a little bit through there. I'm going to now take this, fold it over, and like an idiot, I just squirted out glue and rubbed it over the side. I got glue happy on that side, didn't I? But you know what? That helps you. It shows you what happens when you get too much glue on there. We're going to be covering it, so it doesn't really matter. But now let's do this side. I'll keep my rag handy. I found I use a lot of paper towels and the fibers stick to my work. But if I use a cotton rag like this, old dish towel, it works beautifully because then the fibers don't stick. And it cleans up a little bit faster that way. And see, this will not matter when I get ready to cover. Okay, let me get these ends. And I'll go back and do those sides. See, it doesn't take long at all to cover these. I know that's too much there. Okay, last side here. Okay, good. Now I'll do my sides. Nice, no cracks, excellent. I'm just squaring that off so that that's nice and smooth. Okay, that one's done. Pretty, huh? Wipe off my area a little bit better. Okay, now let's do the other one. I may fast forward through this, so don't get nervous if you see the camera moving faster than normal. And we'll start here. Okay, so now both sides are covered and we're ready to add the spine to this. All right, to add the spine, we're going to do this one here, which is the outside spine. Yes, it is longer than our covers because we're going to fold it over that single spine sheet. So we're going to take this piece here and we're going to attach it like this. Okay, so let me see here. We're going to take the glue. This is 1.5 by 8.5, the chipboard is. The green linen, I'm going to attach this chipboard to the smooth side of the green linen. This is 4 by 10.5. I'm going to center it, place it down here, smooth it out. And so we've about made a whole book in less than 15 minutes, guys. All right, I'm going to bend this over, smooth that, just like that. Bend this one up, smooth it over. Now I'm going to do this one a little bit differently in the fact that I'm going to go ahead and glue that down before I start the bending process on the sides. Let's see how that works for you. So I'm going to take my tape again, if I have enough left. I think I just ran out. I'm going to put just a little bit right there. Then I'm going to take another one here that I have handy, and we'll put it right down there. There. Now I'm going to use glue anyway, so not a problem. I'm going to take my glue, put it in that crease, do this whole flap. I don't want to go lower than that because I'm going to be using that to bend in a minute. Don't want it overly glued. And I'm smoothing that out, creasing up next to my chipboard because I need it to bend there. Okay, so I want to bend it like that in a minute. Now I'm going to do this side. I think I just pulled the whole tape off. Close. Okay, now, so I've got my spine pretty well laid out there. I've got it scored down nicely, and I've got a nice crease right up here next to my chipboard. Okay. Make sure it's nice and easy there. Now I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut through that and make a miter up here. I'm going to start right here at the beginning of the chipboard and go over, and then do the same thing on the other side. See how it angles it? Sorry, I'm not getting it in frame very well. Now I'm going to do this side. Excellent. Now I'm going to go through and do this and get this broken to where it will bend easily and lay flat. Okay, do the other side. This is another way of doing it. There's many, many different ways, guys, and none of mine are the actual all must-do type situations. I just like to show you options. Now, your paper will probably crack because I'm bending it both directions. It's okay. It's the spine, and I want it to be able to lay flat, so there we go. I've got it bent pretty good there. And I think I'll go ahead and mount this onto my covers. Now, normally what I use is a scoreboard, but you may not have one. So I want to show you what we're going to do here just to make sure everybody's on the same page. We're going to apply adhesive to the front because our cover is going to be attached right here. Does that make sense? So you want to bind it to the inside like that. Now, that means I'm going to have to take tape and glue and do both sides. So I'm going to cut it so I don't rip that off. I want this to stay on because this is what's going to keep my book together. Now, I'm using 1/2 inch right now because I ran out of my 3/8 inch close by. When I change the video, I'll do something a little different. All right, now I'm going to take this off. Well, you know what I should have done, don't you? I didn't do it. Bad girl. I should have pressed this down thoroughly to make sure there's no air bubbles and that it will stay permanently. Big difference. Now I'm going to take my glue. I don't want to get any closer than 1/4 inch there. Okay, I want to leave that so that I can not see that glue and adhesive when I attach. Now you've got to get this completely straight. What I like to do is I like to take my scoreboard, and once again I'll do this with you. I line up at the bottom that hinge or that spine, and then I'm going to line this up on the bottom as well and slide it over to where it is straight and even with this. That way, this has to be straight because I've lined them up down here. Does that make sense? And then I'm going to turn it over, take my bone folder or scoring tool, and voila. See, that now looks very nice and finished on the outside. Cool, huh? So let's do the other side. Take off my tape back. Add my glue. And then add this side as well. I need to make sure it's straight. Let me get it all in there so I can make sure. Crud. Yes, I did that. It's going to be covered. I'm not too terribly worried. All right. That looks awesome. Now press it down. And the big test is going to come when I stand it up. Oh, yes. And my book folds nice and flat. I have a nice spine. Nice and neat. Very good. And that's writing there. We're going to cover all that, so don't worry if you've got something showing. The green does show a little bit of glue, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. That looks great, guys. Now let's go to the next portion. Okay, moment of complete chaos. I was refilling my glue bottle in between takes here, and I have poured it all over myself and the glue. Just thought I'd give you a quick hint as to what goes on behind the scenes when you're refilling your glue bottle. It is probably best not to do it like I'm doing it, because an air bubble collects and then it won't go in. All right, well, wasn't that fun? Back to your regular scheduled programming. Well, I was so concerned about getting the glue added to my bottle because I was completely out of glue in my gun. I forgot to go ahead and do the inside spine cover. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break. Now, we're going to go ahead. The last piece that was in your pack 1 was 5 by 8 3/8. And all we're going to do is actually place that down like this. Now, I'm a stickler. I do like to make sure I use a combination of the tape and the glue. Because this has got to hold. And I don't want to take it all the way to the edge, because it will show. So I'm just going to put 2 pieces of tape here, and then I'm going to put glue because I want this to hold tightly. I tell you that every time. I know you get tired of hearing it, but just in case it's your first time joining in. All right, now pull that off. Pull that off. All right, and take my newly filled glue gun. Avoid the edge because you got a crease there where you're going to make your spine bend. And then I'm going to go down this side. Okay. Now I'm going to put the smooth side down so my linen side is showing, and just kind of center it on my page. That makes it look a little bit more finished. Smooth that out. And you know from experience, I like for that to dry just a moment before I move on, but because we're filming, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do a light bend here. And I'm going to go ahead and take my scoring tool and find that crease that goes down by the chipboard, in between the front and the chipboard, or the back and the chipboard. See how that's finding that? If you look at it, you can see the crease is showing up now. That's going to help me bend this. And because the paper is going to slide a little bit, I just want to kind of lightly crease it there so it starts to bend in the right place. Now I'm going to take some tape, go back to 3/8 inch, and I'm going to put that down underneath it. And I'm going to pull the back off after I burnish. Okay, and I'm going to apply the glue onto my book cover. Under here, I'm trying to show it to you. I'm trying to bend it up so you can see. Good. And then I'm going to lay that out flat. Burnish it good. Now I'm going to bend it. Oh, that's working nicely, folks. Now, while that finishes drying, I'm going to spin it around. I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Put a piece of tape just to secure it a little bit better. And add my glue away from the bend, but so that it will adhere well. And then glue that down, burnish. And bend that. Beautiful job, guys. Beautiful. Now let's go ahead, spin it back around, work on that one just a bit. Looks great. Good. Now work this one. Gonna have to get that down just a little bit there. Good. See, I'm right-handed. That's why I spin it around on you guys, because I find it easier to work on my right hand. Okay, so now there's my book. See, and it will lay completely flat when you open it. All right, now packet 2. So for the next packet, packet 2, we have 4 small pieces in it, and then you'll have your paper embellishments, okay? We're going to take out the white cardstock, which is 5 7/8 by 8 3/8, and we're just going to simply glue that down to the front cover. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my green linen mat, okay, and I'm going to attach it to this white before I attach it to the cover, just to make sure I get it on there nice and straight and even. So I'm going to go ahead, and yes, I know there's writing on here. This one is 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. I'm going to be covering that with the decorative paper. See, so you don't have to worry. We're going to cover all of this. So I'm going to go ahead and just use glue and attach this quickly on here. Attach it right onto the white, centering it the best I can. Good. Now see, that'll be easier. And then you're going to cut decorative paper, the printed paper of your choice, 5 1/2 by 8 inches to go on top of this. Now I went ahead and cut mine out, and I'm gluing it down. I'm actually going to use the smaller version of that pretty bunny that we used on the large one, just to give me a different portfolio look for an example. I know I probably should use the same one, but I like to show you options, and you could do this one. Isn't that cute? And now I'm going to stick it down like so. Okay, nothing's going between our mats, so you don't have to worry. You can go ahead and attach this now. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick this on here. I'm going to lay it flat. Oh, I touched the cover. I'll have to get that glue off in a sec. Did not mean to do that. And press this down, get my excess glue from showing. And that makes a very nice, attractive cover, doesn't it? I like that. Very pretty. Now, if you'll notice on the one I did, I put the frame where the little bird was here, and that way I could complement and have the other little bird perched on the frame. So if you want to do the same thing, you could do that with one of the butterflies if you did this background, and you could also do it like I did here. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put the spine on while we have it laying flat. All we're going to do a dry fit. We have our white mat, and then we have our linen spine. Okay, it goes like that. So let's glue those together. I should have put the glue on the green because I'm going to put it on first. So let me just stick that on there. Like so. And since I had written on the linen side, I did do the smooth side up, okay? I don't want you to think I'm crazy. I just wrote on the linen side by mistake. And I'm not one that likes to waste paper, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Now I'm just going to attach this down to my spine piece on the outside here. And you can leave it blank, or you can go back and use a decorative piece of paper to fill in of your choice there. That decorative piece of paper is actually 1 inch by 8 inches. So I'll let you choose which one you want to add there. Go ahead and add it, and then we're going to move on to packet 3. So now we're going to tackle packet 3, and we're going to pull out the pieces, and you're going to find that you have white cardstock mats that we're going to be putting here. And also we're going to be putting one on the other side. Okay, these are 5 7/8 by 8 3/8. So let's go ahead and glue those down. Let me remind you what the inside's supposed to look like. This is a side with a mat. I'm going to take this, not with a mat, but with a ledger pad. It's a junior ledger pad. And you'll see that it has a pocket underneath. And then here we have a flap. Okay, so I put the pocket down. Wrong. I forgot. I have to put this flap on first because it's going to go under the pocket. So I have a nice little flap for you. And we're going to insert it. It's already scored for you. That's what I get for not reading my directions. And I'm going to take a corner rounder, and I'm going to round the corners on the short side. Because here is how it's going to go in the book, just like this. Okay? So now that I've got that done, let me score it a little bit better here. I did remove my pocket quick enough that when I realized what I'd done, it came off. Now I'm going to glue this in place. Let me make sure I've got the right things here, guys. You know how that goes. And to be truthful, I don't want you to think I'm perfect. I want you to know that I make mistakes. You saw that with the glue. Refills. Okay, so let me go ahead now and stick this down. And I'm going to stick it right inside the white. And then I'm going to open it so I can score that down flat. Now let me make sure I got it good and straight. It's pretty darn close. Okay. And I'm getting fingerprints from glue on it. Good thing I'm going to cover it. Okie dokie. Now, oh, look, I have the pocket almost ready to go on. Let me add the glue to it. Now you're going to say, what about the printed paper? Well, yes, you can add the printed paper right now. And I can do that. Because it'll make me nervous and you nervous if I don't. Let's see, what printed paper do we want to go there? How about a little piece of this? That's not bad, is it? I want to see if my pocket's going to cover that up. Why, it will. So let me cut that. It's not quite 3.5, but that's okay for me. I'm all right with that. I don't have to have it way down in this pocket. The only reason why that it says to do 3.5 is because they want you to successfully put it to where it'll be down in the pocket a little bit. Okay, now I've got my decorative piece right there. And we're going to go back and we're going to do this pocket on top of that. So let's again try doing the pocket. All right, again, I hold it flat, line it up with my top flap. Excellent, and press that down. I'm keeping my fingers off of there because Sherry has nasty looking fingers at the moment. Let me get a wipe. If you don't have one of these on your desk, you're crazy. This is a diaper wipe dispenser, and it holds wipes down. But what I like is you can do it with your elbow, and it'll snap open, and it's got a vacuum seal. They're not like $20 on Amazon, but and no, I don't get any affiliate links with that. I just love having that, and it gets the glue right off my finger because that art glitter glue is a water base. All right. And now that I've got stuff on my pretty white paper, we'll put something on top of it. I'm going to put the green linen mat next. And yes, I wrote on the green linen side again, but I'm going to glue it down and put decorative paper on top. So it doesn't really matter, does it? So I'm going to put this down right here. Now, I can't put this piece on yet, and I'll tell you why. Because now we've got to do something fun. We're going to add a magnet. And, of course, the magnet is probably stuck to something. This magnet's going to go right here, and you have a positive and a negative. Where the positive and negative signs are, that's you peel that off. It's adhesive, okay, underneath it. So we're going to take this and we're going to, it doesn't matter which one you want to put down first. Okay. And I'm going to place it right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to place it on the flap because, right in the center of the flap, because I don't know how far down the flap's going to go. So I'm going to press it down. Then I'm going to take the backing off of this one, and I'm going to lay it down on top of the other magnet where the adhesive side is up, okay? Then when I close it, my magnet here will stick in place. Does that make sense? Now, I like to not have that magnet showing very much under my paper, so I take a piece of Scotch tape or the double stick tape, either one, doesn't matter. And I cut a piece to put over top of it. I do this because it smooths that edge just a little bit and doesn't look such like there's a big gob under your paper. It smooths it out a little bit. Now I can pull that off, glue this, and I can put it directly on top of my magnet. And you won't even be able to see the magnet. Isn't that great? Super duper. Okay, now I need to put a piece of paper on the front here. And I need to cover this inside panel. Let's see, what's the inside? Top flap is 5.5 by 3.5. Let's see. Let me cut this real quick. We'll use it. 5.5 by 3.5 again. Okay. 5.5 by 3.5. Same size as this piece here. I'm going to go ahead and round those corners to kind of match my flap. Alrighty. Pull off my tape. And glue the, ooh. I don't know which side I like better. That one or that one. I'll go with the first choice. Now, I know the rule of thumb is don't glue on top of your work, but I've kind of got tight quarters here while I'm filming. And I'm going to put this over top of my magnet, pressing down around it. Couldn't find the magnets because they'd stuck to my mouse. All right, voila. Now, let's put this little purple mat on here. Now, we aren't going to be putting a decorative paper on there on the camera. If you wish to do that, you may do it. But I'm just going to do something a little different. I'm going to first round the corners so that my flap will... Sorry about the dog. I'm going to, before I lay this down, I'm going to add some ribbon. Had to go quiet in the dog. All right, so what I'm going to do, this is the ribbon that we're going to be putting on there. Beautiful hand-stitched ribbon. I just love that embroidery ribbon. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some mounting foam tape. You can use pop-up dots if you'd rather. I'm just looking for mine. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to cut a couple of strips that are 5 inches long or somewhere close. They keep getting longer as I cut, don't they? Alrighty. And this one was a little too long, which is good. I can use it up top. Then I'll use it right there. Now, I don't want to pull those backings off because what I want to show you is I'm going to take this and I'm going to pull off this bottom one only. Then I'm going to stick the edge of my ribbon to it. Then I'm going to pull it around to the front and stick the other end down to that. That way, I have it already tacked into place. If you want to put a little glue under that to secure it, you're certainly welcome to. You can put it higher or lower. You can put it anywhere you like. Now, I'm going to pull off the rest of my backing. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on top of my ribbon so that it will adhere as well. Okay. And then I'm going to pop this on top of this flap. Isn't that pretty? Ta-da! So that side is almost finished. If you noticed, I used a different decorative piece here. I used on my original sample a real pretty piece with the quill and the inkwell. I wonder why I used the quill. That quill's in your kit. And I fussy cut out the inkwell and the feather and postage stamps. You can use that, or you can use something like this, whatever you prefer. Now we're going to do the spine. And to do the spine, we're going to be putting down a white mat, which is the same length. And then we're going to put a green mat, and then we're going to put a piece of decorative paper. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that. I am wearing a purple shirt to match, just so you know. That is important. It's my Scrapping with the Girls crop shirt that I got. One of the best crops ever. Give a little plug for April Wise. She is dynamite. I did that crop a couple of weeks ago, showcasing my subscription kits. It was fun. Had a good time. All right. And I see right now I did not cut that spine white piece of paper straight. I don't know if that's the problem or if let me get another one. Yeah, I just had a bad one. That happens when you're mass producing these. It takes a good 2 full weeks of about 80 hours a week to cut all these kits. It's not easy to do, and sometimes late hours, so they sometimes may have a mistake. If they do, please forgive me. I am trying my best to make no mistakes, and I don't let anybody else cut my papers. I do all of it. I have this phobia. Let's make sure that works now. Yeah. I just have a phobia of you receiving your kit all excitedly and then something not be done right. I try so hard to do safeguards for that. I do have help. A girl named Donna, who's as sweet. She's one of my dear friends. She helps me with packing things like the card kit pieces and the embellishments and the boxes, and she helps me a great deal, and I do appreciate her help. And then I've got this piece here, and I think I'm going to use this side because it's the continuation of that. I liked it. If you wish to distress these papers, you can do that, but these papers are so pretty, you really don't need to do much distressing because they look good just like they are. All right, I'm going to put that down. Hopefully it's close to the other one. Yep, perfect. All right, now we're ready for the back one. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. All right, I got a bunch of little pieces here for the back one. Okie dokie. We've got the white mat down. That's a good thing. Now we're going to put the green mat down. And I'll tell you a secret. I've already got the books planned, or the kits planned now for the next 4 months. There's some good ideas in them. And I'm even doing another recipe book. And this one's going to be more of a family heritage where you get to put the picture of Grandma and put down her recipes. Oh, it's awesome. It is awesome. That's going to be a pretty one. But any ideas you have, I'm open to them. Text me, message me. Heck, just pick up the phone and call me if you have an idea. All right, now I'm going to put my pocket. And what do I do with my pocket? I look at those score lines, and I go ahead and I miter. That one's a little close. And then there and there. And I bend this over. This is one of my favorite kits so far. I think these little portfolios rock. Okay, now that I've got this as flat as I can get it, I'm going to glue those flaps. Excellent. Again, take my fingers and hold down my corners. I got one big bead there. Put down my pocket as close to the center as I can get it. It's pretty close, guys. Pretty darn close. Oops, it's moving on me. I put a lot of glue. And you can use little clamps to hold these flaps down. I do that frequently, where if I'm working on something, I use this to hold the flap. Those work well. You can get them at Dollar Tree or dollar stores. They're just real handy. And then now I'm going to put my green linen mat on top of that. This time I think I'll glue over here. All these measurements are on your cutting guide. There's no point me reading them to you. Okie doke. I like it. Now this does not have a mat because you're going to put the ledger over top of it. It doesn't have a printed paper mat there. Okay, let me get my finger clean a little bit. Now we're going to do the topper on our pad. Here's the one that I did. Okay, and what I did was I took a little junior legal pad like this. I took a piece of linen and I scored it here and here at the 3 1/4 and an inch. And now I'm going to fold on those score lines. Ooh, I've got so much glue, it's coming off on my paper. I'm doing the linen side out. Since legal pads are generally 1/4 of an inch thick, this will slide over top of it. Just this way. Okay? And then you are going to glue that on. So let's go ahead and glue that down. These do make incredible little gifts. I know I've made them for all my friends for Christmas and birthdays. And where I tore that top sheet off, you can see it just a little. All right, and then you take a piece of decorative paper, whatever paper you want. I think I'll use this side. I'm going to check it to make sure it fits. It does. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to this. Isn't that pretty? And to finish that off, I thought what a nice thing it would be to add a little gem. So I put a little gold embellishment. It's a little purple rhinestone with some little diamond clear rhinestones around it. And then I'm just going to let that air dry right on top of a dot of glue. And there you are. Don't put it in your book yet. Wait till that dries. Lay it to the side, folks. Lay it to the side. Now, we have the inside of our book complete. If you want a fussy cut and add embellishments, please do. It'll just make it prettier. And now we're going to finish decorating the cover of our book, and I'll be right back. All right, so now we're going to go back and decorate the front of our book. Remember, I did a little differently than what we originally had done. So I wanted to show you a couple of quick tricks that I did on here. This frame here, I made it, and I'll show you how I make it. I took 2 rectangular dies, and I took some Post-it note tape. This is a nice way to work with your dies because you can position them the way you want. And when you're cutting out things like leaves, you can position them on the paper and be able to cut through them. And you don't have to take them apart. You can leave them taped after you get them taped. You don't have to do this every time. It cuts just fine. So I'm centering that just like that. And now I'm going to lay it on my white linen paper. I'm going to put it in my Big Shot or whatever die cutting machine you have. Run it through. And then when it cuts out, you have this for another project, which is awesome. But you'll have the little frame that you see that I made on the front cover. Isn't that clever? It's just a great way to make frames out of your existing dies. So I'll set this away. Okay. And we'll have that frame now to work with. I'm going to decorate this one just like I did this one here. Okay. Same way. So I'm going to start by, what am I going to focus this frame on? What do you think about the rabbit? Would that not be a wonderful way of framing that little rabbit and then maybe adding some flowers and embellishments in other places? I think that would be pretty. I think that would be very pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the mounting tape. I know I'm covering up these holes. It's okay. Trust me. It will work. All right, I'm almost done. Almost done here. One more little strip. I hope I'm on camera. Okay. One more. Here we go. Lovely. Oh, well, I guess I better do that little one there. I did have another piece, but it shot off across the room. Okay. Now I take my little frame and I place it where I want it to go. It's sticking to me, not to the paper. Stick. Do you think I ought to do the butterflies or should I do the rabbit? I'm thinking the rabbit this time. Okay, so we're going to go down here and we're going to do our little rabbit. He is cute. Now I'm going to tie a bow with my handy dandy bow tire, bow maker. That will make it a lot faster, trust me. I have 3 big paper cuts on my fingers, so if I touch something with it, I lose control and drop it. Can't imagine how I got a paper cut. Not in my line of work. Okay, so there's my little bow, and I'm going to glue it in place when I get done. I'm going to trim those ends real quick. All right. Yes, that'll be pretty. And I'm going to add the embellishments on the frame when I get done. Now let's do some of the flowers and leaves. You got an assortment of leaves and flowers. You may have more than what's in the picture. You may have less. Utilize them the best way you want. You also got a lovely feather, which I used specifically on this one because of the birds. I just thought that would go along very nicely with those. I went ahead and grabbed a few things because I wanted to share with you some of the things that are in your kit. Don't you love these quills? They're writing pens, guys, and you can use them as part of your gift if you give them as a gift. I just thought those were so cool. You had to have that. And then you've got a little assortment of feathers. I'm going to open this one up. and pull out my assortment. Now, in your kit, you got a little applicator, either a black one or a purple one, depending on which kit you got. And this I want you to use with your own inks. Select perhaps a light green or a light purple, and we can distress these images just a little bit to where are not the images, but the flowers, so that they look a little bit more realistic. And what I'm going to do, instead of mounting this down to the book itself, okay, this is what I do when I do a lot of planning, because I know I'll change my mind. I cut a corner of a piece of paper. Oh, let's cut a bigger one than that. Okay. I cut a piece of paper like that, and I build on this, and then I place that onto here. So I can work just a little bit easier, and I can move it around, test it here, test it there. And I'm going to do it on this so I don't get it all over my desk. This is a resist type work surface. And I'm going to pull out my flowers, and I'm going to quickly go ahead and start inking these up. And what I do is I take the very center and I pull out without re-inking, and it kind of gives it a natural look. You can make them light, you can make them dark. You don't have to do this at all. It's just a good way of giving some dimension to your work. And if you'll notice, if you want to change the color, all you have to do, and be careful and don't rip the petals off, is ink it a lot, and you can change it to a darker purple. You probably will see that on a couple of the pieces that I do. I'm just going to ink it. Let me pull in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing, and just ink it really well. And you can get a darker shade of purple to complement it, or actually to be a contrast. I'll do this one a little darker. When they dry, they're a lot lighter. So I try to do it a little darker than I hope for. And I hold it down with my finger tightly so I won't rip off these little petals. Skip forward if you're not inking your flowers. Okay, I'll do one more here. And I guess I better do these little ones. I don't know how many's in this pack. We'll see in a minute, won't we? I just want these to be drying a little bit while I work on the leaves. I'm going to leave that one light. Okay, now I'm going to let those dry. You can take this and rub it over a piece of paper, and it will basically pull most of the ink off of it, so you can put it into another stamp pad. They also wash out if you've used a water-based ink. Okay? If it's a permanent ink, you aren't going to get it out. Okay, now let me test this. Okay. Looky there. It's the right color after all. And I'm going to go ahead and ink up the edges of this because I don't want it to show up. Okay, that's nice texturing. It won't show up stark white. Nice, pretty green. And what I'm going to do now that I've got my flowers done, I'm going to put the cap back on my purple so I won't stick it back in there. And I'm going to take my leaves, and I'm going to just a little hint of green on there. Now, I'm using the Distress Inks by Tim Holtz. I've got Peeled Paint. I've got Seedless Preserves. That's what I just picked out of at random. peeled paint I use a lot on Stamperia papers because it's a nice color to distress with, believe it or not, especially if there's flowers involved. So I use it quite a bit. And you're probably wondering what this bauble is on top. I used E6000 and glued it on there. So on my collection, I leave the applicator on top like that. That way I can store it. And that's a Tim Holtz bauble. Okay, I've just about got all my little light green ones. You can do the dark green if you wish. I'm not going to do them today because we don't want to spend all day inking. That looks lovely. And I'll put my little dark green ones over there to see if they blend. Yes, they do. And see, even if I did work on that, it wouldn't show up much. See? All right. So we're going to set that to the side. And now I'm going to take and do my flowers first. I'm going to assemble them. And what I'd like to do is roll those over a pencil or a pen. I think I'll use a white pen here. And I'm just going to simply roll that like this, holding the center edge of that petal so that I won't tear it off. And that'll make a pretty little rounded flower. I'm going to do this only with the larger petals. And it makes it a little bit more realistic. Yeah, these are coming out nice. I did it the light purple because I figured you could make them darker, but you couldn't really make them lighter. And if you're doing this a lot and you want more highlights on stuff, you can always take your white pen and then draw on your leaves to make them shine just a little bit. You know what I mean? With some white ink and give it a little bit more three-dimension. Now I'm going to take my glue, put a dab in the center there, layer one of my little flowers on top. Good. And then I think I will lay one more on there. Pressing down in the center to hold it. And one tiny one in the center now. Just lay that out of the way. I'm going to do a dark one. Okay. Now this flower is assembled. I'm going to keep it to the side. All right, now let's assemble another one. I'm going to do two large ones, all I'm going to do. Put that one on. Kind of stagger the petals so that it fills it up. Put this one on. Let's stagger that a little better. I'm not pressing down. My fingers are sticking to it. And I knew that was going to happen. Okay, there we go. And last but not least, we'll put another light colored little tiny one in there and hold that down. Excellent. Okay, I've got this one. I can go ahead and play with it for a moment and make a little darker flower that has a couple of little leaves. And add this little rogue one right here. Dogs are playing and I heard a scream. All right, now these I want to save so I can fill these in as I need them. Here we go. I'm going to take, first, I'm going to start with my leaves. And I like to put dark ones in the background, in the foreground, and the light colored in the background. Because when you look at leaves in a distance, they're a little lighter than what they are up close. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue there. Attach my leaf up that way. Attach one this way, just as a filler. Then I'm going to go to the opposite end. Same thing. I'm going to attach dark green one. And I'm going to attach the light one. I'm starting a sweep here, okay? So I'm starting that sweep. Now I'm going to have to put something in the middle here to kind of fill that void. See, isn't this easier than doing it on your book? If you don't like it, you can take it off this paper. It won't rip the cover. And then I'm going to put another... I don't know. I think what I'll do, if I'm going to do this from above, I may want to do this one this way. So I'm going to put this one right like this. Now, I'm going to put a couple of little ones on here after I do the flowers. I'm going to do the flowers first. They should be dry enough I can position them. And I'll put that one here. And I'm going to put this one down here. I'm going to put this one over here in the corner. That looks very good. Now I need to add some leaves to fill in the voids. This one will look really good right in there. And it dries clear, so I don't have to worry. I'm going to add a little more glue here and fill in with this one. I need to tuck it under that petal. If I can get the petal up just enough. And I need another blossom there. This is all just happenstance. You make it the way you want. I'm just kind of being a little creative with where I'm placing them. And I'm sorry, I'm off camera again. Didn't mean to be. I'm going to lift up that petal there and add some flowers there, or leaves. I'm sticking it on the end of this now so that I can fill in a little bit better. I'm not sure if I like that one there or not. And then let's put this one, let's try it up here. And I may not need these other ones, but I'm going to go ahead and add this one right there. Okay, so my swag, which part of it just came apart. My swag looks awesome. I can add the other little pieces if I wish. And I could also darken that in if I want to. Let's try it onto our book here and see if we like the positioning. I kind of like that. What do y'all think? Ooh, that's pretty good too, isn't it? I think I like that better. Let me go out a little bit. I like that. What do y'all think? It needs one more though, right down here, I believe. I'm going to add one right there. Let me glue that. If I can find a level spot to glue on, I'm just going to glue the leaf down to hold it. Excellent. Now, yes, there's some background showing, but you're not going to be able to tell if it's the paper underneath or the paper that I attached, okay? If you have a problem with it, you can go back and ink that really good before you start, or you can trim off some of this paper. I'm going to take and add the feather to the back, and I'm not sure if I want to add it down here. Yeah, I'm going to put it up here, just like that. So I'm going to glue this down now. And all I got to do is glue this one strip. I've got my feather in place where I want it. And I'm going to glue this down on top of the feather, because the glue will hold to it. And I'll have to bend that leaf up just a smidgen. Yeah. Excellent. Now we're going to take that, the embellishments that you got, and we're going to add to this. We're going to take, let's see here. I gave you 3. I wish you could see the pile of stuff. Here, I'll show you. See? That's how my desk is looking. I had to show you. You got 3 of these beautiful rosettes. They're adhesive on the back. And I'm just going to add those on top here where I want them to show up. Aren't those gorgeous? Ooh, they add such character to it. I'm not sure if I like it there or want it down below. What do you think? Kind of spaced out a little? Yeah. And then you got some bling, and you got a bunch of them. So I'm just going to pull them off of here and put them. I'm going to put one in the center of each of my flowers. This would be good with tweezers. Okay, doesn't that look pretty? And then I'm going to do my frame the same way. Okay, so now I'm going to take these little white embellishments and I'm going to put them on the frame where all the holes are. Tweezers didn't work. Hopefully you can do this with your fingers. Now, you don't want to watch 20 minutes of videos, me trying to get these little pearls onto the frame itself. So I won't do all of them on camera. But I will go ahead and attach the bow. But you can see how it's coming along. I just put it on top of those little dots, and it makes such a difference. So lacy and dainty. Isn't that pretty? And we're going to add a big dot of glue right here and put our bow on there. I'm going to pull my little tabs strings down and let that dry. And that's it, ladies and gents. We've got it all done. I'm not going to do the rest of the pearls right now, but you get the idea. And we've got our ledger pad ready to go in. I just set it to the side. So I'll get that and put it in my book. I think this is the one I used. I was waiting on the rhinestone to dry. There it is. And we'll slide it in. There we go. I do appreciate everything, guys. Thank you so much.